All right. We're live. Hey, we're live. Cool.
So this is happening. We are
So this is
live.
happening. We're here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good to see you, Bartek. Hello.
Good to see you, Luke. Good to see you. Pleasure on my side, as always.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is a little bit unique because usually we have a few more people, so I think it's going to be really interesting to have the two of us going through the reading section. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, to
Um,
see how it's gonna go.
absolutely.
Nice.
Those joining, welcome. We're going to get started in a couple of minutes. We want to give people who are going to join the chance to join. But as you start watching, say where you're watching from, where in the world you're watching from, and where you are on your journey, on your PTE journey. Are you taking it tomorrow? Are you taking it uh, in 3 months? Are you thinking about taking it? Did you take it yesterday? And
Yeah.
you tried to figure out what you could have done
Yeah, I
better.
just
Yeah.
imagine the reply like I'm taking my PT in 1 hour time,
Oh yeah.
and just I'm on my way to the test center and just trying to get final inspiration on reading question types.
Or I figured out a way to sneak my phone in and I'm actually
Yeah.
taking it right now. I don't think that's
You never know.
possible,
You
right?
never know. The creativity is like endless story.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, hopefully most of you watching are either planning to take it or know when you're taking it, but it's not tomorrow, and it's in the, let's say, I don't know, 6 months or something like that, where you have plenty of time to prepare. Because today we're going to be working on the reading section. We've been reading your comments, and there's a lot of requests for a focus on the reading section. So that is going to be a big focus, our main focus today. And we're also going to be going through questions as usual. So make sure to put those in the comments. And again, say where you're watching from and where you are in your PTE journey. I see we have a lot of people joining. I see someone watching from Australia, a name that I can't read, unfortunately. I think it's Korean. Watching you guys from Australia, Ramandeep, welcome. Let's see. I will take it the day after tomorrow. All right.
Okay. So I keep my fingers crossed, and this is the
G-
like just
yeah.
accumulate the energy for tomorrow.
Yes. For you, GG, if I'm saying your name correctly, maybe today's episode, we're with you. We want you to do well, and we hope we can
Yes.
help you. Although
Yes.
that is pretty soon. We've got people watching from YouTube, and we've got people watching from Facebook. I'm gonna hit the music a little bit if that's all right. We've got people watching from the Philippines, Instagram. Wow, a lot of people watching. We'll give it another minute and then we'll get started. And again, as you join, welcome, welcome. We're focusing on reading today. My name is Luke. Bartek is there beside me, our
Yep.
expert for today, to answer all your questions and share some great tips. So keep the questions coming in. We will have specific Q&A sections. We'll be answering small questions here and there, but we'll have focused Q&A sections, and we do have a special giveaway too. So good morning, Missy and Zandra, watching from the United States. Welcome. Let's see, who else do we have? Sophie, hello. Hey from rainy UK. What else is new? I think it has to rain a certain number of days per month in the UK, right? I believe that's a rule of the universe. PTE is too hard, someone says. What do you think about that, Bartek?
I would say that PT is doable. The preparation could be too low or too high. So everything just bounces back to this preparation. I've been through
Yeah.
various high exam stakes. and I failed some of them, and I've excelled at some of them. And the joining element was what really mattered was what I did in my preparation period. And I wasn't the best student at times, but then I learned the lesson. So everything is within this period that you decide
Yeah.
to give towards preparing.
Which is the reason we're doing these
Yeah.
episodes. This whole series is about how to prepare, helping you prepare. So hopefully we're in your journey of preparing, right? That it's this critical period where if you put in the work, then on the day it doesn't have to feel like that, right?
Yeah. Actually, there's this small piece of advice for this person with PTE tomorrow. Actually, there are two groups in the world. One of the group is like hammering down everything all night using the stress reaction to boost the intensity, and they somehow survive. And the other group saying like, for the time being, for this evening and this part of the day, you just need to relax. You just need to recharge and do
Yeah.
gentle revisions. Do not spend
Sleep
like,
sleep
yes, sleep.
well.
Try to sleep well, at least. Try to sleep
Yeah.
well. So two groups in the world, and both have something
Yeah.
to support their own strategies.
Well, to be fair to the person who said that the exam is tomorrow, we don't know that they haven't been preparing for 8 months. It's just tomorrow. So
It's
perhaps they're
just tomorrow.
extremely well
Yes,
prepared. Yeah. Yeah.
that
I think
is
I
just
made a mental assumption there.
tomorrow.
Maybe incorrect.
6 months of preparation. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. Well, let's get started. And again, more people joining, which is fantastic. We've got some great things. We've got some great things coming up. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to PTE Live. My name is Luke, and I will be your host for today's episode, Reading Refresher. Based on comments from previous episodes, it's pretty clear that the reading section is a big area where many test takers, many of you, struggle. So today, we are dedicating the entire episode to helping you master this section. We have our very knowledgeable guest expert, Bartek, with us today. He's going to walk us through why people struggle with the reading section and how to overcome these challenges. We'll also go through all 5 questions of the reading section and how to handle each one. And of course, Bartek is going to be answering your questions as we go, so put those in the chat. Now, later on, we have a very special offer and giveaway that you have to be here live to get. So make sure to stick around for that. Okay, let's dive in. I'm going to have you introduce yourself quickly, Bartek, but
Yeah.
first I want to ask our viewers a question. What is it that you're doing as you prepare for the PTE or think about preparing for reading, especially, of course?
Yeah.
What are you doing that you need to stop doing? So think about that. What are you doing with your reading practice that you should stop doing? Put that in the chat. Put that in the chat. We want to know. All right? So, Bartek, could you quickly introduce yourself, and then
Yeah,
I
and
think
I
we
can
can...
answer this question actually to one of my study processes that
Sure.
I had to stop putting and relying and arranging all the distractors around me when I was doing the reading. I had too many things that were taking away my attention from the text. So look at your surrounding, look at your desk. Once you study and you read
Yeah.
and you need your focus, make sure that there is not a single piece that will take away your attention, like a WhatsApp message open or the YouTube channel, etc. Okay, of course, watching the live
Instagram Reels,
PTE.
yeah. There's
This is
nothing wrong with
like there's
Instagram Reels,
nothing
but
wrong. Yeah, yeah.
when you're studying, maybe it's the not the best thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. So a few
So,
words
yeah.
like I'm a teacher trainer and the assessment advisor with Pearson, and I run educational programs across the globe within the assessment. So I try to help the test takers and the teachers to develop the test taking skills so that this exam preparation would be as effective as possible. And since I'm also rooted in psychology of motivation, perseverance, I do believe that exam preparation is not only going by question type by question type. There needs to be something more
Yeah.
than just going through the questions endlessly to make it effective. So I'm gonna share some tips with you today on this area.
Okay, so let's get into that then. We're gonna focus on our main topic, which is again going to be about reading, a reading refresher. Um, I like that you also think about things from the psychology standpoint because that's very important, right?
Yeah,
It's just as important as how many vocabulary words you know and
yeah,
how good you are at grammar. I think while it's important to focus on those things, getting better at grammar, building sentences, it's also important to understand yourself and what motivates you and what
yep,
makes you effective and what reduces
yeah.
stress and things like that. So, and if you haven't seen our previous episodes, make sure to watch those because you've had a lot of great tips. So maybe we could start with time management. Time management is a big challenge, I think, in the reading section. And so maybe we could talk about why that's a big challenge and then how test takers can get better at managing their time during the reading section.
So in the first place, it's unlike write essay or summarize written text where you are just provided with a timer and it's very fixed. Here, you've got the amount of time, around 30 minutes through for all the reading section. So
Yeah.
it means that you are master of your own time. If you want to spend eternity on a single multiple choice, multiple answer text, it's up to you. You manage your time effectively. So if you want to skip really quickly, it's up to you as well. So you rule the world in this moment. You can click submit and move forward to the next question. So this is the challenge because
With great power comes great responsibility.
great responsibility. Yes, well said. So if it's the challenge, it means, and we've mentioned it several times, you need to expose yourself to exam conditions in your
Yes.
preparation period, and it shouldn't be like once. So we do have scored
Right.
practice tests, several variations. We have the question bank. So first of all, once I imagine the person just at the very beginning of the preparation journey, just go through the whole PT academic text and just be very objective about the time that you needed for particular questions and item types. Don't be afraid to say like, okay, I spent way too long on this, because you need to have some form of benchmark at the very beginning to compare yourself against and just to move towards
How do you do that?
improvement.
With just with a stopwatch, just to write
Yes.
down, okay, this is how long this one
Yep.
took me, and then would you do 10 and then average them out, or
So you've got different text lengths in reading sections. You've got the maximum will be like up to 300 words. Then you'll have like 150 words, 200 words. So then once, for example, you get access to the official guide, you'll find information that for some of the questions you should spend around 3 minutes per question. For some of them, like reorder paragraph, we're gonna talk about it, like it's gonna be like 1 minute or 30. But these are just estimates. So don't treat them like
right?
black and blue.
Yeah.
So if I'm not there, it
Yeah.
means I'm not getting there. But just set it, look at this as a kind of a standard, and then try to be close to this, and even try to get lower than
Yeah, don't
this
assume
amount.
that this is exactly how much. You
Yes.
want to push yourself as much as possible.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
the more time that you're able to get for yourself,
Mhm.
the lower the chance that you will miss something because you were moving too quickly,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Right. You want to increase speed without decreasing accuracy, right?
That's true. And the second
Yeah.
option is like This is the beauty of the reading, because you are faced with an authentic text. So all the work that you've invested and all the work that you've put in your preparation will pay off when you take the exam. So this is the knowledge of the vocabulary. This is the knowledge of grammar. This is the knowledge of all the paragraphs, everything that you've been exposed. The more exposure, the greater the comfort.
That's
Because
a it that's a great way to say it. It's like a real investment. When you invest a certain amount of money after a period of
yeah,
time, you see the results of that. But if
yep,
you never made that investment, then you never see the
that's true.
results. Beautiful. Yeah,
That's
that's
true.
great.
That's true. Mhm.
I just want to call out we have more people joining live, which is great to see. Paul is here. We have more people joining from YouTube. Someone has asked, let's see, about whether or not it will be saved on YouTube after. Yeah, it will be available on YouTube after. You can watch the
Mhm.
replay. However, I will say one thing. There is something that we're going to be doing today live that you have to be here live to have a chance of getting. I will say that. So make sure you stick around live. Okay. I see we've got some good questions coming in, but I wanted to maybe follow up on that with speed reading, right, or reading fast,
Mhm.
right? Is as a skill, is this something that's important to focus on? And is if so, is there a way to get better at that skill without sacrificing my comprehension of the
So
text, my understanding of the text?
if you are preparing towards exam like PTE, make sure and suppose like look, you had this correct one, like you are in advance, so you've got some time to play with. Make sure you include the three strategies: skimming, scanning, and speed reading protocols within your preparation. Because you need
Skimming,
to
scanning, and speed
scanning,
reading.
yeah, the skimming in general information. Scanning, you search for specific information, and speed reading. But the point is that when in speed reading, you need to, it takes practice. I remember my reading courses, so the speed reading that we were tested on speed reading and multiple choice took several weeks minimum. So we were exposed to different scientific texts, and then the time was reduced little by little. And then we were taught what to do, how to read faster. And there are several actually options you can play with. First of all, it may sound strange, but once you read, try to look at the group of words rather than single words, because we know something, this is scientific term, saccadic movement, and the fixation points, that your eye is making very constant movement and it's stopping at some points. So those people who read really slowly, they read word by word. That's one. So train yourself on
Yeah.
observing several words. That's number one. Number two, I used to do it a lot, is like regressing quite often. So you read the text, you stop, and you go back and you read it again, and then you go back and you read it again. So it's not helping you in this speed reading. In practice,
Right.
you just force yourself to go on, and try to understand the text without frequent
S- So you just tell
regressions.
yourself, do not go back. So you're saying
Yeah, you
people
need to
waste a lot of
remember
time
about
just
it.
by the first time they read it, it goes in one, I guess I have to say, in one eye and out
Yeah.
the other. That doesn't make sense, but they're not really getting anything from it. So you have
Mhm.
to force yourself to get something the first time.
Mhm.
That
And
makes
if
sense.
you're observing this life, do an experiment. Take a text and be very
Yeah.
conscious of the fact. Try to see whether you are regressing or not within the text, because maybe you'll discover like, oh my God, I'm regressing every 3 lines for some reason. Then there is the
Right. Which
question,
is
what is
wasting
the
so much
reason?
time. Yeah.
Yes, that you are regressing. If you don't understand the context, you struggle with the words, or basically you lose concentration, because this is another one. You need to be focused within the reading text.
But that it seems like there's a way to do that as an exercise, right? Where you
Yes.
just say, I have you make a little paragraph for yourself, or
Mhm.
you find one somewhere, and you say, I'm going to give myself 8 seconds to read this, and that's all I have. And you take a piece of
Mhm.
paper, you read it, and then you cover it and say, how
Mhm.
much did I get there? There you're kind of
Yes.
forcing that new habit of not regressing.
Not
Yeah.
regressing, yes. For the
Yep.
scanning protocols, they're very easy for elementary level. But I will paint the picture and you will know what to do with the advance. You just take a restaurant menu and you give yourself a task. I'm going to find the price of fruit salad. And
Okay.
your task is to ignore all the information and fish out the fruit salad as fast as possible. So this is how you train scanning. And then you take authentic text and you give yourself task as well, like multiple choice. I'm going to find the name of the writer as soon as possible. And you just jump through the
Yeah,
lines and you
I
try
like
to
that.
stop at this name.
That's great. That's great.
So you start with something small and then you gradually build towards the more developed text. Yeah. So this is like how you train scanning.
Yeah. So
Uh,
you have an objective to find a specific piece of information,
mhm, mhm.
not a general summary, but a one thing that you need to find, and you have to
Yes.
figure out how to find that
Yeah.
quickly. Yeah.
My
That's great.
inspiration is like do skimming and scanning week. You devote 1 week and you start all the time with skimming, then you swap and you move into the scanning. So you juggle those strategies several times. So this is where the practice comes.
Sorry, I can't come to the wedding. It's scanning week. Can't do it.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
busy. Yeah.
what's the priority? This is the
Hey,
question.
listen.
What should be given priority?
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
just tell them, oh, it's because of Bartek that I had to do the reading. I cannot
Yes,
attend the
Bartek
wedding.
told me. Right, right. Yeah. Wedding or scanning week. You have to pick one.
Yes, yes.
That's great.
University or party, yeah?
Let's see. We've got Olivia from Facebook. That's a great suggestion. Yeah, I agree. That is an amazing suggestion. The 3 S's: skimming, scanning, and speed reading of reading.
Yes.
The three
And
S's.
do it in advance. You could become a speed reader. Just remember about regression. Remember about looking at the words all the time. Not like a single word, but a group of words. And this like be patient with it. Okay. So
Absolutely.
you need time because you need to rebuild your reading skills.
Before we get to a couple of questions, I would like I've got one more question I wanted to ask specifically about, I think, a thing that's just human nature. Some people say they don't, but I don't believe them, which is procrastination.
Hmm.
I think that we all do it in some areas. I think when it comes to preparing for the PTE, I think you don't have somebody standing over you, probably, right?
No.
It can be helpful to have somebody standing over you because there's that pressure, which is good. But if you're self-motivated and self-study, you know, Instagram Reels look pretty good over there, and it's very
Yeah.
easy to lose an hour. How do
Yes.
you avoid getting sucked into procrastination when you're trying to prepare? Because that's kind of the enemy of being ready, right?
Yes. Habit formation. 2 words or 1 word habits. So I hope that our audience that you are using, I don't know, Outlook calendar, Gmail calendar, the calendar in the mobile phone. And
Yep.
if you put the things that you have to do at work and you prepare a simple story, design a time blocks for reading activity and give them priority. Of course, do not exaggerate. So they shouldn't be given priority over like a medical visit. But once you design the time block, make sure that this time block is visible and stay with this time block. The second option that when I work individual with people, this strategy is called temptation bundling. Simple story.
Temptation
Te- temp-
bundling?
yes, temptation
Yeah.
bundling. On the one side of a paper, you make a list of the things you like doing or the things you do daily because this is your routine. And the second column on the right is the reading that you have to do. Multiple choice speed reading, scanning, or the listening, whole PT academic. And then you try to make a connection. Which of these activities could be combined together? Like something you like and something you have to. because naturally we have a tendency to choose something we like over over something we have to. With the listening, it's easy because you do the treadmill running and you listen to the podcast. But with
Wait.
reading,
People don't like being
yeah,
on the treadmill though.
jogging in a park, whatever you want, whatever you want. But jogging, so the reading might be difficult. But when you commute to work, that's one of the options. Then maybe there is a time that you stay at some place, and instead of doom scrolling, just you can enter the scientific website and read it. So this temptation bundling, this is the
Right.
strategy.
That's interesting. Yeah. But you when you do your foot bath in the evening, your warm foot bath,
Hmm.
you combine that with an exercise. That's
Yes.
actually a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is like you win over the temptation, and the final one, just control the environment. So
Yeah.
what I'm playing with is like
Ah!
I've got a little spider that I got it from my kid. But what you do is like you live in a family in an ecosystem, and maybe the rest of the people they don't treat seriously the very fact that you need to concentrate. So you need to inform them that, hey, this is my quiet time and do not enter the room. So what you can do is like you can put a spider in front of it and just inform them in advance, hey, whenever you see the spider, remember that I'm concentrating right now. So do not come and ask me where the pen is. Do not come and ask me, do we have potatoes somewhere in the
Yeah.
house, because I'm concentrating.
Every little
So
thing.
control.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Can I share one that works for me as well? I think those are
Yes.
both great. Number one, controlling the environment, and the other one is bundling something
Yeah.
that you enjoy, right? I don't know, but the treadmill one, maybe it's different for everybody. I like
Yeah.
walking, but um one thing that works for me is a little more extreme. I will place unpleasant activities in front of absolute requirements, like eating. Like
Mhm.
I can't eat. I'm hungry. I need to eat
Uh-huh.
lunch. My body is telling me I need to eat, but in front of the eating, there is this thing that must happen. And so I want to just do that thing so that I can do the thing that I want to do,
Mhm.
which is eating. So
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
little more extreme, but it
If it
works.
works, if it
Yeah.
works, that's fine for
Yeah.
you. So for the audience, you need to experiment with all those
Yeah.
elements. So you need to find
Absolutely.
something which works for you, and in order to do so, you need to experiment with several strategies. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so let's great I think great tips, great suggestions. We covered a lot. We're going to get to a couple of questions now. So I see we have quite a few good ones coming in, and a lot more people joining. So I've got one from Darshu from Instagram. Actually, important fluency tips for reading aloud. Um, well, important. I think we kind of covered that for reading in
Yeah.
general. Is there anything to add there quickly?
So actually, it's about speaking, not about reading. So the fluency when you speak is like trying to speak with a natural speed. You need to expose yourself to reading aloud, because normally you read in quiet. So train yourself to hear your words, and do not repeat the words, and try to be very natural with a natural speed. Do not try to imitate the accent. But this is everything about the speaking. So I would say that
Yeah.
that's different story.
And actually, so I see another question on YouTube from Nermit. Sir, in read aloud, many people speak only one line and get a perfect score in speaking and reading. What's your opinion? I think we can probably hold that one to that section. We're going to get to that specific question very shortly. So let's hold off on that one just because we're going to be covering all of the question types. From Pardeep Sharma, apologies for the pronunciation there, on Instagram, sometimes I get distracted with complex sentences. So that's a tough one. Complicated sentences or difficult vocabulary words, right?
Mhm.
That can be challenging. But it seems like one of those things that can be overcome with a lot of practice, right? If you give yourself or you find a bunch of complex sentences from news articles and then you work through those to understand them, and you do that regularly, then you will just naturally get better and get
Mhm.
faster at doing that, and it's just going to
Yes.
happen. But if
Yeah.
you have to put in the work, you can't expect it to just magically
That's
happen.
that's true. And
Yeah.
you need to go for something which is called effortful learning, so slightly above your current level of competence. So
Yeah.
don't get comfy with reading the texts which are easy for you, because the reward system will kick off. But this is not what you want to be. You want to push yourself gently towards the desired score and towards the level you want to be. So increase this difficulty gradually. Okay.
The way that I like to think of it, or the way that I describe it to people, is imagine you're on a hike. If you're on a hike and you want it to be a good hike for you, you should be breathing slightly hard the whole time. Not totally out of breath, but also not totally just sort of moving along very casually. You need to be, breathing a little bit. And that's that slightly difficult
Yeah.
thing, but not impossible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So breathe a little bit during PT Academic. So it's gonna be
Absolutely.
this one.
All right. Well, before we move on to the 5 question types that we're going to cover, I want to quickly share something. So, we've kind of referenced it, we've kind of mentioned it, but the best way to practice under real test conditions and see where you can improve is, well, the practice test and the question bank. So I want to share those quickly and give you a special offer that you can use if you would like to check those out. So the scored practice test allows you to feel familiar with the test, and it allows you to basically have that experience before the test to build confidence, right? And it is scored using the same system that the real test is scored with. And it helps you kind of identify what areas to improve. It's really a great way to prepare. The other one is the question bank. This is very realistic questions. They're authentic PTE questions, 300 of those. They have realistic timings, model answers. You can see the explanations of each. So both great resources. Now, if you use the code PTE Live 10, you can get 10% off when you add these to your cart. PTE Live 10. So you'll see the link, I believe, in the chat. Check that out. You can look into those both a little bit more, but both great ways to prepare. Now, I did also mention that we're doing a special giveaway. So this is it. Get ready for it. Prepare your fingers for typing. This is going to be random, so I guess speed is not the most important thing. We are giving away free scored practice tests for 5 of our test takers who type, ready? Ready? PTE Reading Ace. Got it? PTE Reading Ace in the chat. Type that in the chat, and winners will be selected at random at the end of the session and named in the chat, okay? Put that in the chat. PTE Reading Ace. Ready, go. And you can get a free, not everybody, 5 people, a free scored practiced test, which I think is amazing. All right. Well, I see them already. There, it's happening. It's happening. Great to see. All right, so let's get into Bartek. Let's get into the main chunk here of actual question types. Let's focus on the 5 different question types that people will encounter in the reading section. Now, I'm going to just to give people a kind of sense for this, I'm going to share a little intro video, and then we'll talk about these 5 questions, and then we're going to be answering more questions, more of your questions. All right, so I'm just going to play this quickly, so bear with me.
Reading and writing. Fill in the blanks. For this item type, there is a passage with some missing words. Beside each gap, there is a button with a drop-down list. Select the word you think best fills the gap.
All right, All right. So for this one, it's a little different, right, from the others. Reading and writing combined. Is it important to read the whole passage very carefully, or better to just look around it? What are your general tips for this
So
specific
in
question?
general, the rule is you go for the instruction, then you do the skimming and you do the scanning. In general, you need to go for the skimming to understand the general idea of the text, because your mind mentally you'll move in a particular category. So if it's going to be about environmental issues, space exploration, biological discovery, or whatever. But then you need to look at the sentences, because you have this drop down menu and you will have 4 words of the same type or of the same structure.
Yeah.
So in order to select the correct one, you need to make sure that the word fits grammatically and it fits the context. I don't like distinguishing that, hey, you need to concentrate on grammar and here you need to concentrate on vocabulary. You need both in all the question types. So it saves
Yeah.
your time. So make sure it fits grammatically and it fits in the context. And where do you practice? You get the knowledge in your preparation period. So the more you work on the grammar constructions, the more you work on the collocation, the more you work on synonyms, antonyms. This is the chance that you're gonna be building your foundation for the reading elements. So for the fill in the blanks, quickly read the text and then pay attention to the sentence, and just to make sure that the word fits grammatically and the context is okay. And if you are at a loss, you know next to nothing, and just you happened to be at the test by accident because someone told you it.
How did I get here?
Yeah, how did I get it? I just woke up and I'm in the test,
Oh,
test center.
that sounds like a nightmare. Like if you didn't
Yeah,
plan to
so
be there and suddenly that
yeah,
sounds like a dream I have about high school sometimes.
but give a wild guess then if you know next
Okay,
to nothing
guess.
about, because
Yeah.
there are no minus points in here, and you never know that the luck could be on your side. So
Yeah.
this is it.
It's
What I
okay to guess, but not
Yes,
ideal.
it's okay to guess, and it's important. It's nice, like you've got the question bank, but utilize in preparation period authentic materials. It's very easy for you in self-study mode to take the website, to grab the text, like 200 words, etc. You remove one word, you remove the nouns, you remove the adjectives, etc. And then you leave it for a while because you need to forget what you've just removed. And you come back to this text again.
The
And in the
next day.
first place, the next day, and try to guess what word is missing. If it's a
Or
noun,
you
if
could
it's a
ask a
verb.
friend to do it too. You could say, "Hey, could you
Ah,
do this?"
you
Yeah.
are reading my mind. Because if you are self-study, my piece of advice is, why don't you formulate mini self-study groups?
Yeah.
Like a groups of 3. And you can design those texts for each other,
Yep.
actually.
We've got a lot of PTE reading. I just have to say, I'm just scrolling through the chat. If I'm looking down, I'm looking at the chat. PTE reading ace. Well, keep those coming. We're going to be selecting. We're going to be selecting winners and mentioning them at the end. So
Yeah.
stick around. That's good advice, though. And it's also, you know how they say speed chess players, they play on instinct. They're not thinking about the move. They're just doing the move. If you have that practice, what happens eventually is that an instinct gets built up where you just go, this seems right, and you don't even have to know
Yeah.
why anymore. It
Yes.
just feels
Yes.
right. But it
Yeah.
only feels right because you did all of that practice.
Yes.
It's not a random guess, but
Mhm.
it's a lot easier because you spent the time, because you built the
Yes.
deeper skill. Then the instinct emerges, basically.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, one more. The time management. As you practice, measure the time it takes you to fill in one blank as a
Mhm.
student. It's not like an exam tip, but it's a practice tip. As you practice, just look at the timer.
Yeah, it's a good tip.
Is it like 10 seconds or is it 50 seconds, or you spent 1 minute per one blank? So probably you should be around 20 seconds per blank. to make it really
It's a
effective.
good tip.
So at the very beginning, if you see like it's taking me 1 minute to complete one blank, that you know that you are spending too much time on it. So you need to practice either you build your command of academic English vocabulary on the grammar or use this instinct, as you just mentioned. So
Good.
measure the time and just gradually make it lower and lower.
Very good. That makes a lot of sense. Time seems to be a common theme here for reading.
Yes.
I just want to break up the PTE reading ace. I mean, it's great, but I want to break it up with a question because I want to see other things in the chat too. What is something that you naturally do well in your reading practice? At the beginning, I asked what is something you should stop. Now I'm asking what is something that you're naturally good at in your reading practice? So put that in the chat, and I think we still have more people joining, which is amazing, from YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. That is great to see. All right, we're gonna move on. I wanna get moving through these. We do have more questions to get to as well, so let's go to the next one.
Multiple choice. Choose single answer. For this item type, you need to read the passage and answer the multiple choice question. To choose an answer, click on it using the left button on your mouse. Click on it again to deselect it or click on a different answer.
Okay, so for this one, do we have any simple hacks for answering this question pretty quickly and accurately? You mentioned before, sometimes on questions you can guess and sometimes you shouldn't guess. Are there any other little tips that you can recommend?
Yes, but longer tips, but these are useful. When you train for this question type, because you could be expected to provide several informations. So you could design your reading practice like, I'm gonna read the text and I'm gonna concentrate on gist. So what's the central message of the text? Then you change and you concentrate on details. So what is this person wanting to do? Then you design a reading on purpose. So what's the purpose of this text? Is it like argumentative one? Is it like problem solution? Is it like cause and effect? Is it trying to persuade someone? Because you could be asked about the purpose of this article.
Yeah.
Then
what is going on here?
What is going on in there? Then you can ask yourself, what is the tone of this text? So what is the author trying to tell? Is he for or against? So several elements that you could be asked within this question type. So you need to train and you need to be quite
Just write those
effective
down
in,
on the side. Just sort of say.
yeah, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna read a text from the library and I'm gonna concentrate on the purpose only. That's it. Or I'm gonna concentrate on details only. Or I'm gonna try to infer the meaning. What is the author suggesting? Okay.
Right.
So this is like, there are several variations that could appear within these questions. So as you prepare, just play with all of them, with all those categories.
Can you just list those out? Inferring
Inferring meaning, tone, general
Tone,
information,
general information,
gist, and details, and purpose.
And purpose. Okay.
So it's like compare and contrast, find a solution to something. It's like pros and cons, because you could have it like as an option.
It would be great if
multiple choice.
One of our viewers could pop that in the chat just so everyone can see it. And I think that list is great. I'm gonna do, because then it gives you a kind of a checklist.
Yes.
Right. Great.
Yes.
Great.
Yes. Have you done the preparation in this area? Yeah.
Yes. All right, let's move on to the next. I want to move right through these because the next one is another type of multiple choice.
Multiple choice. Choose multiple answers. For this item type, you need to read the passage and answer the multiple choice question. There is more than one correct response. You need to select all the answers you think are correct.
Okay.
Just don't guess. Don't guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next,
you need to be 100% sure. 100% sure. Otherwise, you risk getting minus points.
And I mean, the same thing applies here. For the previous question, the advice is pretty much the same, right? It's just you're answering multiple questions or multiple answers. There's an added difficulty there, though, right? I think it becomes a little more complicated when you have two things to be thinking about. Are there
But
any common mistakes for this other than guessing when you shouldn't?
just inappropriate sequence. Like
Okay.
you first of all the question, then you read the prompt, you read the questions because they set you the tone on what you should be looking for within the text. So do not read the text first, and then refer to the prompt. So this is quite basic when it comes to the strategy. And I'm gonna leave with you a really nice practice. It's like the devil's advocate. Imagine that me and Luke and there is another person are preparing for PTE and you work together. So we take the test, we take multiple choice, multiple answers, and our role is to take one prompt, one potential answer, and we try to defend that our answer is correct. I'm going to defend A, you will defend B, and Mari will defend C. And the role of the rest is either to agree or disagree. So this is the practice that you build this foundation of being how confident you are that this one is correct and this one is incorrect. And it's a nice speaking activity.
That's great. And that's another reason why you should put together a study group, because you could actually do that with other people who are working on or preparing. True. And it's what I would call that applied reading. Applied reading is you don't just sit there and read and try to get better by just reading and reading and reading. You use reading as a way to do something, and when you have to do something with reading, then the more of the wheels are turning. You're engaging more deeply, and that's what improves reading skill. It's not this passive thing where it's just stuff going into your eyes. It is an engaged process. All right. I want to move on to reorder paragraphs. We've got 2 more, and then we got to get to some questions as well. So thanks for your patience. We want to just cover these to make sure that you feel ready for all 5 questions. So here's question 4.
Reorder paragraphs. For this item type, you need to restore the original order of the text by selecting text boxes and dragging them across the screen. Select the text boxes, drag them across the screen, and use the arrows to reorder them.
Okay, so pretty straightforward on this one.
Yeah.
In terms of skills, though, there seems like there's something that's a little different about this one, because you're not just being asked about the intent, or you're not being asked to infer something only. You also have to understand how ideas flow together, right? How do they flow together naturally? Yeah. Is there an effective way to practice this one and work on this one without, being able to do it without wasting time?
Yeah, and probably the audience that they know it and that they do it, which I hope is like, as you read any authentic text, for the reorder paragraph, learn to locate the topic sentence. Even if you are reading the book and you just it flows naturally. So pay attention. Why is this topic sentence? So in this reorder, how you start, you take the first move by finding the topic sentence. The topic sentence presents the information for the first time. There is nothing in there suggesting that there was something else mentioned previously. So this is number 1. Some people use the strategy which I call the wall construction.
Sorry, when you do that, you eliminate that sentence from the options, then that kind of makes everything easier.
Yes.
It's like
so you put the topic sentence, the first one.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
And there you go. You've got the first block.
You have less to worry about. Yep.
Some people do the wall construction. It means they find the topic sentence and they try to find the final sentence, which should summarize the whole passage. But sometimes it's difficult to find the final sentence. So 2 variations. And everything in between, it's about logical connection. So you need to be very sensitive for articles. Is it presenting something for the first time? You need to be very sensitive towards vocabulary. So maybe the same word is mentioned differently in the other paragraph, and you need to be sensitive to linking words, because it should be the natural connection. So it's an element of practice, but as you read
linking
your
words
wonderful magazines,
although, and because of that,
as a consequence,
like
however, etc., etc. This, that, it. So it means that something was previously mentioned. So
Yeah,
if it,
your
if it
your
was
your
previously
topic
mentioned,
sentence is probably not going to start with, as a result of that.
yes, yeah,
Right. Yeah,
out,
absolutely.
yeah.
Okay. All right. I have some exciting news. I'm not going to say it right now, but my eyeballs are looking at the winners at this moment. I see them. So we have them
Ah,
selected. I will announce them in a minute. We're going to quickly go through one more question. We're going to answer a few of your questions, and then I'm going to announce the winners of the practice test. Amazing. Okay, so finally, we have another fill in the blanks.
yep.
Fill in the blanks. For this item type, you see a text with some missing words. You need to drag and drop words across the screen to correctly fill in the gaps in the text. You have a list of words in the box that you can use to fill in the gaps in the text. There are more words than gaps, so we will not use all the words provided.
Okay, so I mean, we talked about another fill in the blanks one.
Mhm.
Looks a little different, right? Not drop
A
downs,
bit,
but
yes.
um, same basic skills there, right?
Principle.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yep. Make sure it fits within the context and it fits grammatically. But this is all about building your block and building your container of vocabulary, academic vocabulary. This is where it takes you. So the more you've put in before, the better the chances that you're gonna get it. And the second option, this is what you mentioned. This is like using your instinct. Sometimes it flows naturally, and guess if you are at a loss. And it's very easy for a person to design fill in the blank activity on their own. And I do suggest you can use AI. You can take the text, you
Yeah.
can ask AI, could you remove 5 adjectives and
Yeah.
provide different variations which are incorrect? So play with the prompt, and it's gonna be that easy for you to design it. But before it, you've got this question bank. We've got sample questions. So this is where you can start.
That's a good tip. So if you want to, really get a feel for it, the question bank maybe is a great tool. And then if you're doing quick little exercises to build up the skills, maybe use AI to just simplify the task of doing
Yeah.
it manually, basically. That makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes sense.
I can leave one strategy that I used to train and I used to use extensively, that we were doing a lot of paraphrasing. And paraphrasing helps when it comes to writing, reading. So we were given the sentence and the homework activity that we had to paraphrase the sentence. And we're using paper dictionaries. So it took us a lot of time. So in online, it's gonna be way easier for the people to do it. But learn how to paraphrase. This is the beauty of building the vocabulary, saying something in a different way.
Yep, in your own words. And you have to
Yes.
understand it in order to do that. So it's
Yep. Yep.
I believe that's called a forcing function. A forcing function is a thing that forces you, if you want to paraphrase, you must understand it. Right?
Yeah.
It's a thing that has to happen before. All right, let's get to a couple of questions and then I'm going to announce the winners. So let's just answer a few questions here that we have coming in. One from YouTube. It's a Korean name, I believe, so I unfortunately can't read Korean. What time do you recommend to prepare the reading? For example, in the morning or in the evening, when is the best time to prepare for the reading, such as after the writing or whenever I want?
Okay. So time physiology. Another
Time
hour
physiology.
of me presenting. So get ready. But in very short, you've got the morning peak and you've got the afternoon peak. In between, there should be an rest when you study for a day. Our brain, in the first place, really loves small chunks and frequent repetitions. So this is what you want to serve to your brain when you prepare. The morning one will be better for you for installing the knowledge. The afternoon peak will be better for you for revising. And what this person mentioned, it's good, learn to juggle the question types. So do the reading and then move to something different, and then you can come back to the reading, so that you will not be reading articles, several articles in a row, because the brain loves small chunks and frequent repetitions. This is the best piece of advice I've received from my professor when I was doing my post-diploma study. They didn't taught me this in high school, and I was hammering like several hours in a row. But then this professor of psychology told me small chunks, frequent repetitions if you want to score A in all the exams.
That's it. That's good, because some people they're so intense
Yeah.
that they want to just work for 6 hours straight. But
Yes.
we're not programmed for that. Yeah.
There was an
Next.
anecdote to it, like learning and revising is like dating. When you meet the first time, and if you want to develop this relationship, just let's say do not vomit on the potential partner with all the stories, with all the things. Let them gradually get used to each other.
Yeah.
This is the same as with the knowledge. Gradually get used to the new forms that you are just
Right.
accumulating.
Don't let them know how weird you are on day one. They will
Yes,
find
don't
out,
bring
and by the time
yes.
after 3 months, they'll like how weird you are, because it
Yes.
happens slowly. Yeah.
That's the beauty of revising towards the test.
Sharma on Instagram says, how many days are enough to prepare for PTE? I think I know what your answer is going to be. It's as many as possible. I think that's your answer.
Yeah, but my answer is, when you just think about the test, take the scored practice test, or you can take the level test at the very beginning to see what your level is, and then compare it against the required university score. Because if I imagine that at the very beginning, you will be around elementary or intermediate, like around 40 GSC or 40 plus, and your required score will be 6970, so B2 plus. So the knowledge gap between these two levels is too wide to be breached within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So this is like being honest and realistic. So usually like a way in advance, and sometimes ask a tutor, okay?
Yeah.
I'm at this point and I want to be there. How long will it take me? And if someone tells you that it will take you 2 weeks, I wouldn't be in this group, basically.
Yeah. That's a good answer. All right. It is time. Bartek, it's time. Can you believe it? It's time.
Yeah.
Time to announce our winners. So, the winners for the practice test. I'm going to just quickly cover what that is again. If you weren't here for that and you didn't see it, so we've got the scored practice test, and that allows you to get familiar. And then we've also got the question bank. And both of these are fantastic resources for preparing to get a feel for the test. So, our winners from, let's see. Now, I want to say this. Here's the code for those of you who, let's say you didn't get it this time. Here's the code. You can add that code at checkout. If you're on Instagram or Facebook, please DM us if you're one of the winners, okay? Only if you're one of the winners. And on YouTube, we will respond to the comment, your original comment, okay? So we've got winner number 1, Pooja, Pooja _102321. Manu Patel 844. Both of those are on Instagram. So DM us, Pooja and Manu. Facebook, Michi Mochiko on Facebook. Congratulations. Again, DM us on Facebook and we can give you a code. YouTube is Harsh and Geneva Manatid and Harsh on YouTube. Please keep a lookout in the comments section. We're going to follow up to make sure you get the code. So congratulations to the winner. Everybody congratulations. Everyone else, feel free to grab both of those great resources and use the code PTE Live 10 at checkout. Okay. Oops. Little early there. That is it for us today, for myself and for Bartek, thank you so much, Bartek. I
Thank you.
appreciate it as always. Fantastic. If you want us to talk about other topics in the future, let us know in the comments. Thank you for joining us today. We hope this episode helps you feel confident in tackling the reading section of the PTE. Remember to use the resources and tips that we shared and reach out. Again, the resources being the things we went over here that we shared, and reach out anytime on social media if you have more questions. We do read comments very carefully. In fact, we wanted to focus on reading today because that was coming up so much in the comments. So let us know what you would like us to focus on in future episodes, okay? Good luck, keep working, and we will see you in the next one.